All right. Hi, everyone. This is Gilberto from Maverick Media Lab, and I'm here with Jamie Millizer, who is a client of ours who's been with us for a bit, I think roughly approaching 7th week, I believe. And he's going to be talking about his experience with Maverick Media Lab and what the appointments have been like so far, now that we're about a month and a half in, and just kind of telling us what kind of results he's seen, referrals, appointments, all that good stuff. So, Jamie, thank you so much for sharing your time with us and hopping
Sure.
on. I really appreciate you.
Sure. No, thanks for having me. Yeah, your team has been great through the whole experience. I mean, really attentive. It was funny. There was actually one time I think I was off site and I knew I had this realtor call, but I was organized for it and I took it, from my car or whatever. And I wasn't anywhere to go inside the portal and disposition it. And probably 3-4 hours later, I got a text from one of the folks on the team saying, "Hey, did everything go all right with that appointment?" Because
Yeah,
it's like, "Hey, all right, you guys are
let's
watching."
go.
So yeah, everybody's been ultra supportive, really accessible. I mean, we haven't really had any tons of issues, but there's been a couple ticky tack questions or whatever, and yeah, it's been good. It's been really good.
I love that. I love that. Awesome. And if you wouldn't mind just kind of like introing yourself a little bit, so just tell kind of like the audience, for whoever's watching this, a little bit more about yourself, like just kind of years in the industry, like, where you're at right now. Just a quick intro.
Sure. Yeah. So my name's Jamie Millhiser. I will be a mortgage industry veteran for 22 years this June. I currently have a team in Houston, Texas, and on that team, we try to build out somewhat of a hybrid platform, right? A lot of distributive retail effort, referrals, COI, B2B, et cetera, as well as some consumer direct effort, some consumer direct technology and platform that we implement. So my career brought me to Houston about 4 years ago, but with the couple of projects I was on, for some other banks, it ended up I was doing a lot of traveling. And long story short, you get into 2000, coming up on 2020, and we have the COVID pandemic, right? And everybody's locked down. And I mean, in Texas, we were out a lot sooner than a lot of other folks, but there still wasn't a lot of just glad handing and meet and greeting, the social networking and stuff like that, for sure, right?
Working events.
So you fast forward, it's like all of a sudden here it is. I live in Houston. My office, my team, my staff is all in Houston. And Houston is the one city in the entire country that I probably know the least amount of real estate agents. You know what I mean? Like the irony of that. So I needed to meet real estate agents. And I started doing some research, and that's where I tripped over, you guys at Maverick. And what I was sharing with you before when we were chatting, I was like, okay, I'll take this for a spin. But where this is going to fall apart is these guys are really great at setting appointments. I'm going to have a whole bunch of appointments, and then I'm going to make a whole bunch of dials and nobody's going to answer, right? And that's been the delightful surprise. I mean, if you also recall, I switched my package quickly. Like within 2 weeks, I went long term with you guys. Within 2 weeks I knew, right? Because I had 80% churn in rate. Like 80% of those appointments, those people showed. And then there's even a little bit of pickup on, people said, "Oh, I missed it in my calendar." We end up rebooking. I mean, if you're getting me that show rate, you're doing your job. Like you're done. Like after that, it's me. So if anybody can give me 80 to 85% of what we set for appointments are going to show up, hire them. And like I said, I mean, you've got the receipts. I switched within 2-3 weeks. You guys are great at getting it done and finding whatever that, niche is that you have to make sure that they stay engaged and show up to the call. It's been great.
Love that. I always love to hear that you're seeing the results, that show rates are good, the appointments are rolling. That's always good to hear. And I was curious, so before you looked us up and you started working with us, what were like the main things that you feel were like preventing you from getting more real estate agents? What was it, like just kind of like a time thing? Was it like
Oh,
a
it's always time,
yeah,
time, always time, right? I mean, you can mean to do it and want to do it, but when are you gonna do it, right? So I can hire somebody and I can have somebody come in and I can say, okay, I want you to reach out to real estate agents. All I need you to do is get them to engage and find out when they can talk to me for like, 15 to 30 minutes. That's it. Okay. How do you want me to do that? Okay. Right. I don't want to get into any of that stuff. Sorry, I'm at home and my
no
Rottweiler
worries.
saw like something probably, fly. Anyway, I don't want to get into that. I don't want to get into trying to follow up with them. I don't want to try to get into trying to cold call engage these people. And I don't want to hire somebody to train to do that. So if you guys can do it, perfect, right?
That's so interesting because yeah, there's a lot of a lot of people that come our way. It's after they've already tried to do it themselves, but it's been like a time thing, or it's been like they haven't really been as consistent. Or then they have like a loan officer assistant, or they hire someone externally to come in and do it. But then it's like a whole nother beast because you have to like train them, and it takes a while to ramp them up. And then while they're doing that and getting trained, you're still paying them, and then getting results probably a couple months later. So yeah, it's very interesting you come up. We've seen that as like a very recurring pattern.
Yeah, I think it's always the time, right?
Yeah.
It's resources, and it's not as easy as okay, we need another LOA, or we need another processor, or we need another closer fund. I mean, this is something that you guys are doing that a lot of people aren't aware of how to do it. So just throwing stuff against it and hoping it sticks versus throwing a couple bucks and hiring Maverick to do it. Why not? You guys know what you're doing. Do it. Get it teed up. I'll knock them out of the park. That's easy. Let's do that.
Collapsing the time. Like
Achman's
they're taking
razor,
like
dude. Right.
a
Achman's
year.
razor guy. Yeah. Just make it easy. Yep. Pay
Yeah.
Maverick Media and let's go. Right.
And now that you're about 6 or 7 weeks in, what have been the results like in terms of appointments? You mentioned they got like an 80% show rate. Talk to us about like the referrals that have been coming in. And I know you've have a couple stories of a couple like whale agents that you've gotten as well on the phone.
Yeah. So, like I said, just kind of using, round numbers, the show rate has been probably 85%. Of all that, I would, here's where we would say, okay, did you win them or did you lose them? Or, define that. There was only, of all those, only like 4 that were absolute like loss. And it was like, my husband is the lender, right? Like, I'm not getting that one. I don't even know what she looks like. I'm not getting it. But there was only like 4 like absolute no's, right? Everybody else highly engaged. Every conversation ranged from, I would say, 20 to 35, 40 minutes. And you'll find that their pain is similar to that of us, right? It was the tentative buyers that sat in your TBD pipeline for 3 months, re-up them another 3 months, re-up them another 3 months. And that was when they were at 3%. Now they're at 5.25% and the prices are the same. They're out, right? It's like just trying to find ways to take away some of that pain or find a way to compensate in some other area to get those buyers back off the sideline and start to help each other's pipelines move, right? We've had dozens of referrals. as you know, typical, right? I mean, some of it, you know, we disqualify on the initial phone call, right? It's now we're, you know, it's not even, it's a waste of everyone's time to do an application. Then we've had folks that, you know, have applied, you know, obviously it's just not going to work right now or not now, and we'll catch up with you in 120 days. And then, you know, a dozen or so out there looking for a place, you know, and that's the challenge now, right? I mean, it's always been a challenge in our industry to incubate pre-approved buyers, but you know, nowadays, I mean, forget about it, right? I mean, incubation, it's like gestation. So yeah, it's really been great. I mean, like I said, you guys are getting receptive and engaged people ready to have a conversation, and they're having those conversations. The realtor pain points are simple. And if, you know, if someone watching this as a lender doesn't know what those are, find out what those are before you start these calls. And then find out what you have in your arsenal at whatever company or bank or wherever you work that's going to accommodate those pain points. Because you're going to have an answer, right? This is your conversation with the real estate agent. Like I said before, it's your job. Maverick does a good job of putting the ball on the tee. Are you going to swing and hit it, right? So are you prepared for the conversation, and are you prepared to do something that sizzles, right? Like, are you going to give them a reason to engage with you again later via email and text? And are they, when you call them in 2 weeks to follow up on stuff, or a week from now, or whatever the tenor and tempo of this conversation or relationship is, are they going to answer the call when they see it's you? They should know it's you because you already sent them your contact card after that first call, right? Are they going to answer? Or do you have something of value to give them? And eventually they're going to have value to give you, right? So that thing that you were asking me to talk about, I think I was telling you, what happens is, you know, we get the notification from you guys about the appointment being set with the real estate agent. And one of my teammates, someone on my staff, will grab that, and then we have MMI credits. So we'll go in and pull the real estate agent stats, et cetera. And then they put that in that calendar, in my calendar. So even if I'm off site or whatever, I can see everything, and I can kind of get an idea of size them up ahead of time, right? Who I'm talking to. And one of them that you guys booked for me a few weeks back was a whale. You know, top 500 in Texas. Had a great conversation, right? It's going really good. It's even going great on the stuff that would just be regular. It would be like a regular conversation, but that even went great. Like talking about niche product we have, and, you know, certain things we do with in our, you know, in regard to underwriting, et cetera. So that stuff's going great. But then she starts to kind of reveal, my dog, sorry. She starts to kind of reveal that she's had 2 lenders that she's worked with for about 15 years. One guy's winding down to retirement. She can kind of sense that he's getting out of the game, and, you know, he's been a little bit choppy as of late. So she's not really using him. But where she's a little bit, you know, taken back with her other lender is when she was building out her 2022, like, pro forma plan, strategy, goals, all that kind of stuff. She's looking through her CRM, like over like all of her referrals and who her sources have been, et cetera. That other lender for 15 years has never sent her a deal. Not a buyer, not a seller. I was like, how that's impossible. They would have to try. Like, nobody on the whole in the company has sold or bought a house in 15 years, right?
It's crazy.
She refers them on average, like 15 to 20 funded units a year. I mean, that's the kind of stuff, man. I mean, that just, if you can't hit that out of the park, I don't know what to tell you.
It's a big one.
Huh?
That's a big one.
So she tells me this, and 45 minutes later, roughly, we have a TBD, brand new TBD pre-approval in Houston. Call her back. I'm like, hey, I've got one for you. You've known me for 4 hours. You known your other lender for 50.
You know me for 4 hours.
She has referred a lot of business since. So that's the thing. That's the beautiful part. Like I said, I mean, you guys tee them up, knock them out, right? It's a great system. Well worth the money.
One thing I always like to ask is, you know, you like many other lenders, and especially you, since you've been like in the industry for years now, I'm sure you get a lot of marketing calls and all that stuff. Probably in your inbox is full of different services and people, you know, contacting you for their marketing services. Like, what made you move forward with us, being that you have like a lot of options at your disposal? What was it that made you like decide, yes, you know, this is, you know, the company I want to work with? What was that deciding point for you?
I think it was the level of engagement that you guys had in the beginning, was kind of a testament to your legitimacy, right? Because it's not like I was referred, you know, by another colleague or anything, right? I didn't have, you know, that man-to-man, one-to-one testimonial. You know, I explained what my pain was in the beginning. I kind of searched around, you know, did as much, you know, asking around as I could. But truth be told, it came down to the phone calls, right? When we're kind of feeling each other out and seeing if it would work. Because it was like, okay, if they do that, you know, if there's that level of engagement to get me on, they got to have at least half when they're actually operating, right? You know, so I mean, I mean, you guys do, you know, you guys, it's a good team, it's good people, and you don't just try hard, you execute.
Boom. And if you were talking to someone who was in your shoes, like how you were like a couple months ago, like about to, like maybe they hopped on that first call, or like they're thinking about reaching out to possibly work with us, like what would you say to that individual who's contemplating, like maybe like, are they legit? Should I do this? Is it going to work for me? Like, what would you say to that specific individual?
My cell number is 312-498-5843. I'm sure you'll have my name in the caption. Call my cell, text me, then I'll connect with you. I'll be happy to answer a couple questions. No problem. You can ask me and get it straight from the horse's mouth.
Love it. I appreciate you sharing your contact.
Or don't call me and just book it. That would be better for everyone. But if you need to, you can text me. But book it.
I appreciate it. You're the first one to actually share the phone number like on the actual call. So yeah, I appreciate that, man.
Sure.
You know, I'm sure whoever's listening to this probably appreciates that, like hearing your words and just kind of like the genuineness, and just like your honest, like just transparent results with what you've been seeing so far. So I really do appreciate your time. I know you're a busy guy, you got a team out there and you probably have packed schedule. So really do appreciate you. And thank you as well for picking us as the people that you want to do business with and help you grow your mortgage business.
Of course. Thank you, man. It was good to meet you. Thank you for the interview.
Likewise.